The following content is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Search engine optimization, or SEO, is a highly volatile field subject to constant algorithm updates by search engines. The strategies, historical trends, and case studies discussed in this video do not constitute professional business, financial, or legal advice. SEO outcomes vary greatly depending on industry, competition, server infrastructure, and execution. We do not offer any guaranteed results, and there is absolutely no promise of overnight success, top-tier rankings, or sudden financial windfalls. Viewers are strongly advised to conduct their own due diligence, consult with certified marketing professionals, and independently verify all information and technical specifications before making any changes to their website infrastructure, coding, or overall business operations. Right now, Google is likely actively suppressing your website from your ideal American customers, and the harsh reality is that you are entirely to blame. You might have spent thousands of dollars on a sleek, modern design. You might have hired a professional copywriter to craft the perfect mission statement. You might even be paying a premium for top-tier website hosting. But none of that matters if you have fundamentally misunderstood the language that search engines speak. According to historical trends and massive industry-wide server crawls, over 90% of all websites on the internet receive absolutely zero organic traffic from Google. Zero. They exist in a digital ghost town, completely invisible to the millions of consumers actively searching for their exact products or services every single day. The reason is not that their business is flawed, and it is rarely because their competitors are an unstoppable corporate monopoly. The reason is usually a series of silent, invisible technical errors lurking deep within their website's code, quietly assassinating their digital presence. Consider a recent case study involving a mid-sized, regional home services company based in Dallas, Texas. This was a legitimate, highly rated business that invested roughly $15,000 into a complete brand overhaul and a beautiful new website. The site featured stunning, high-definition background videos, intricate parallax scrolling effects, and a custom user interface. The owners expected the phone to start ringing off the hook. Instead, they experienced total silence. For 6 months, their organic traffic flatlined. They began bleeding their marketing budget dry by running incredibly expensive pay-per-click advertisements just to keep the lights on, entirely dependent on buying their way to the top of the search results. When a forensic SEO analysis was finally conducted, the problem was not a lack of effort. It was a devastating lack of technical oversight. The web developer, focused entirely on aesthetics, had left a single obscure line of code in the site's header, a simple noindex tag. This tiny string of text explicitly commanded Google's crawling bots to turn around and leave the site without recording a single page. Furthermore, those beautiful high-definition videos were so massive that they caused the mobile version of the site to take an agonizing 12 seconds to load over a standard cellular connection. In the highly competitive US market, a 12-second load time is a death sentence. The users bounced, the search algorithms penalized them for terrible user experience metrics, and their massive investment became a liability. This happens every single day across the United States. Right now, your competitors might be stealing thousands of dollars in potential revenue from you, and they are doing it without spending a dime on advertising. They are simply exploiting a massive blind spot that you did not even know you had. But what if you could see your website exactly how Google sees it? What if you could bypass the confusing dashboard metrics and look directly at the raw data determining your digital fate? In a few moments, I am going to reveal a completely free, highly obscure diagnostic sequence that takes less than 20 minutes to execute, yet uncovers the exact technical roadblocks suffocating your US-based traffic. This is the exact same foundational diagnostic framework that high-priced corporate marketing agencies in New York and San Francisco utilize before they charge their enterprise clients thousands of dollars for a preliminary site audit. I am going to show you how to pull back the curtain and expose the critical errors that are holding your business hostage. The problem we are solving today is the epidemic of SEO blindness among business owners and digital creators. The United States search market is the most lucrative, high-intent, and fiercely competitive digital landscape on the planet. With hundreds of millions of daily searches, the economic value of ranking organically on the first page of Google for a commercial term is staggering. Yet, most website owners operate entirely on guesswork. They publish a blog post and cross their fingers. They tweak a headline and hope the algorithm notices. This is not a strategy, this is gambling. By the end of this deep dive masterclass, you will know exactly how to run a comprehensive, completely free SEO check on your US-focused website. We are going to systematically dismantle the illusion that SEO requires expensive, enterprise-level software subscriptions or a degree in computer science. You are going to learn how to leverage powerful, publicly available tools to audit your own digital footprint. We will explore how to analyze your site's crawlability, ensuring that search engine spiders can actually navigate your architecture without hitting dead ends or infinite redirect loops. We will dive deep into indexability, verifying that the pages you want the public to see are actually stored in Google's massive database. We will examine historical trends surrounding core web vitals, dissecting how metrics like largest contentful paint and cumulative layout shift directly impact your ability to rank in a mobile-first indexing environment. You will learn how to identify toxic backlink profiles that might be silently triggering algorithmic suppression, and you will discover how to uncover instances of keyword cannibalization, where your own pages are actually fighting against each other in the search results, ultimately dragging your entire domain authority down. This is not a superficial overview. We are going to examine real-world potential outcomes derived from fixing broken link architectures, optimizing orphan pages, and restructuring your metadata to align perfectly with the specific search intent of the American consumer. You will be equipped with a step-by-step blueprint to diagnose your website's health, prioritize the most critical errors based on their potential impact on organic visibility, and begin the process of reclaiming the search traffic that rightfully belongs to your business. This is about taking control of your digital asset, understanding the undeniable data driving the modern internet, and transforming your website from a passive digital brochure into a highly optimized traffic-generating machine. The tools are completely free, the data is sitting right in front of you, and the methodology is entirely within your grasp. The very first step in our diagnostic process requires us to confront the most fundamental question of search engine optimization. Does Google actually know your website exists? This might sound incredibly basic, but you would be shocked by the historical trends revealing how many massive, heavily funded corporations fail at this exact hurdle. We are talking about the critical concepts of crawlability and indexability. Imagine your website is a newly constructed library. Crawlability is the process of the building inspector walking through the front door, navigating the hallways, and ensuring there are no locked doors blocking the aisles. Indexability is the librarian actually reading the titles of your books and writing them down in the MasterCard catalog so patrons can find them. If the building is locked, or if the librarian refuses to write down the titles, your books will never be read. To check this on your own site right now, we are going to use the only tool that gives you a direct line of communication with the algorithm itself, which is Google Search Console. This is a completely free platform provided by Google, and if you do not have it connected to your US-focused website, you are flying completely blind and leaving your entire digital strategy up to pure chance. Let us look at a highly specific practical scenario to illustrate exactly how critical this foundation truly is. Imagine a business owner named Robert who runs a specialized commercial HVAC and supply chain logistics firm out of Chicago, Illinois. It is currently 2026, and the industrial services market in the Midwest is fiercely competitive. Robert invested $50,000 into a massive content architecture strategy, publishing dozens of highly technical, 10,000-word guides on optimizing commercial heating efficiency and freight routing logistics. He waited 6 solid months, paying his writing team every single week, but the organic traffic absolutely flatlined. When Robert finally executed a forensic SEO check and looked at his Google Search Console index coverage report, he discovered a catastrophic system failure. Dozens of his most valuable, revenue-generating pages were flagged with a severe error status reading called currently not indexed. This is a highly specific and incredibly dangerous diagnostic code. It means the Google algorithm successfully found the page URL, they spent the computational resources to navigate to it, but they explicitly decided the content was not valuable enough, not unique enough, or completely technically flawed, prompting them to refuse to store it in their database. Robert was devastated, but this raw data was the exact diagnostic breakthrough he needed to save his business. He realized his web developer had accidentally implemented a faceted navigation system that was dynamically generating hundreds of duplicate pages. Every time a user clicked a filter on his blog, it created a new URL with identical content. The search algorithm saw these thousands of auto-generated duplicates, assumed the site was producing massive amounts of low-quality spam, and simply stopped indexing his brilliant new guides. By identifying this exact technical roadblock through a completely free check, Robert was able to implement canonical tags to consolidate those duplicate pages and immediately restore his overall site health. To execute this exact same check on your own platform today, You must navigate directly to the page's indexing section within your Google Search Console dashboard. Do not get distracted by the comforting green index bar that shows what is working. You must aggressively investigate the gray not index bar that exposes your failures. Scroll down to the specific tabular data showing exactly why pages are being excluded from the search results. You are specifically hunting for alarming flags like discovered currently not indexed. This specific error often indicates that Google knows the page exists, but their server crawl budget for your specific domain is completely exhausted. Crawl budget is the finite number of pages a search engine will fetch from your site within a given time frame. If your site is bloated with useless category tags, empty author archives, and broken links, the Google spiders will waste their entire daily allowance crawling garbage, and they will leave before they ever reach your newly published, high-value service pages. You must also physically inspect your own site robots text file immediately. You can do this right now manually by typing your website domain into your browser address bar, adding a / and typing robots.txt. This is the absolute first document any automated search engine spider reads when it makes a connection to your server. It is a set of strict, uncompromising rules telling the bot exactly where it is allowed to go and where it is strictly forbidden. A single misplaced disallow command in this plain text file can silently block your entire e-commerce checkout process, your primary lead generation forms, or your entire directory of service areas. Historical case studies across the SEO industry show that hundreds of expensive site redesigns fail completely because web developers forget to remove a global disallow rule after pushing a site from a hidden staging server to the live, public internet. You must verify line by line that your essential commercial pages are not being accidentally suffocated by a careless string of text. Beyond the robots text file, your SEO check requires you to submit and verify a flawless XML sitemap. You must stop thinking of your XML sitemap as just a random list of links. In 2026, search engine bots do not have the patience or the computational desire to randomly click through your complex drop-down menus hoping to eventually find your new landing page. They demand a clean, machine-readable XML document that prioritizes your URLs by business importance and updates dynamically with the exact timestamp of when each page was last modified. By cross-referencing your submitted sitemap against your successfully indexed pages in the Google Search Console interface, you can immediately identify massive architectural gaps in your coverage. If your sitemap claims you have 500 critical pages, but Google only indexes 200, you have a massive structural leak that is destroying your potential reach. The potential outcomes of systematically cleaning up these deeply rooted technical roadblocks are historically proven to be dramatic. We frequently observe case studies where fixing a severe indexation bottleneck results in a sudden, sharp influx of organic traffic within a matter of weeks. This is not magic. This is simply because the search engine is finally able to read and process the valuable content that was already sitting on your server. You are essentially removing the invisible self-imposed handbrake that has been actively stalling your digital momentum in the United States market. But establishing a clean crawl path and successfully forcing the algorithms to index your pages is only the preliminary phase of a true, comprehensive forensic SEO audit. Just because you have invited the search engine bots into your digital library, and just because they have begrudgingly logged your documents into their master database, absolutely does not mean they are going to recommend your business to the high-intent American consumer. What happens when the algorithm reads your beautifully indexed pages and becomes fundamentally confused about what your company actually sells? What if the internal linking structure you designed is actively cannibalizing your own keyword rankings, causing your most profitable commercial service pages to fight a desperate, losing battle against your own low-converting blog posts? The next phase of our diagnostic masterclass dives into the deeply misunderstood architecture of your website, exposing the silent structural errors that destroy your topical authority and hand your customers directly to your competitors. The very foundation of your topical authority rests entirely on your website architecture, which is simply the way your individual pages are organized and hyperlinked together. Imagine if you walked into a massive, multi-level department store looking for a specific brand of athletic shoes. If the store is properly organized, you see clear signs directing you to the footwear department, then to athletic shoes, and finally to the exact brand you want. The journey is seamless, logical, and instantaneous. Now imagine if that same store randomly scattered those athletic shoes across the electronics department, the bakery, and the garden center, with absolutely no signs pointing you in the right direction. This chaotic, frustrating experience is exactly what the Google algorithms encounter when they crawl a website with poor internal linking architecture. In the year 2026, search engines do not just evaluate individual pages in a vacuum, they evaluate the mathematical relationship between every single page on your domain. They use internal links to understand hierarchy, context, and the flow of topical authority. If your internal linking is broken, your SEO strategy is fundamentally paralyzed. To understand the devastating impact of architectural failure, let us examine a historical case study involving a business owner named Michael, who runs an independent commercial cyber insurance brokerage in Seattle, Washington. Michael understood the incredible value of content marketing. Over 2 years, he wrote over 100 highly detailed, meticulously researched articles about data breach liability, ransomware protection, and compliance regulations. However, his organic traffic remained stagnant, and his phone simply was not ringing. When we look closely at the data, the problem was not the quality of his writing. It was a textbook case of keyword cannibalization caused by a disastrous internal linking structure. Keyword cannibalization occurs when a website has multiple pages that target the exact same search intent, forcing those pages to compete against each other in the search engine results pages. Michael had written 5 different articles about ransomware insurance coverage, and he had haphazardly linked them all together using the exact same anchor text. When Google crawled his site, the algorithm became completely confused. It could not determine which of the 5 pages was the ultimate authoritative resource on the topic. As a result, instead of ranking one page highly, Google diluted the ranking power across all 5, pushing them all down to the 3rd or 4th page of the search results where they received absolutely zero visibility. Michael was essentially funding his own digital competitors by building them within his own website. You can run a free diagnostic check for keyword cannibalization on your own US-focused website right now using the Google Search Console platform. Navigate to the performance report and filter your data by a specific high-value keyword that you know your business should be ranking for. Once the filter is applied, switch your view from the Queries tab to the Pages tab. If you see 2, 3, or 4 different URLs generating impressions for that single keyword, and their average positions are constantly fluctuating week over week, you have a severe cannibalization issue. The algorithm is desperately trying to figure out which page is the priority, and you are actively failing to give it a clear answer. The potential outcomes of fixing this specific issue are often rapid and significant. By implementing 301 redirects to consolidate the weaker pages into the strongest one, or by carefully adjusting your internal link anchor text to differentiate the specific subtopics, you can immediately clarify your site architecture and consolidate your ranking power. Beyond cannibalization, your free SEO check must aggressively hunt for the silent killer of topical authority, which is the orphan page. An orphan page is a URL that exists on your server and might even be listed in your XML sitemap, but has absolutely zero internal links pointing to it from anywhere else on your website. To a search engine, internal links are the equivalent of votes of confidence. When you link from your homepage to a core service page, you are telling the algorithm that the service page is highly important. If a page has zero internal links pointing to it, the algorithm assumes the page has zero value to your business, and it will historically refuse to rank it for any meaningful commercial search queries. To uncover these hidden liabilities for free, you can utilize a localized site crawler tool. There are several reputable desktop software options available in the SEO industry that allow you to crawl up to 500 URLs completely free of charge. You configure the software to crawl your website exactly like a search engine bot would, following every single link from the homepage downward. Once the crawl is complete, you cross-reference the list of discovered URLs with the URLs listed in your XML sitemap. Any URL that exists in the sitemap but was not discovered during the crawl is an orphan page. In many historical trends, businesses discover that some of their most crucial, conversion-optimized landing pages are entirely orphaned simply because a web developer forgot to add them to the main navigation menu or link to them from a relevant blog post. Fixing this requires a deliberate, strategic approach to contextual internal linking. You must systematically review your most authoritative pages, which are usually the pages with the most inbound backlinks from other websites, and find natural, contextually relevant opportunities to link from those powerful pages to your newly discovered orphan pages. You are essentially building digital aqueducts, channeling the flow of authority from the strongest parts of your domain directly to the pages that need it most. This process does not require any coding knowledge or expensive software. It strictly requires a logical understanding of your own content ecosystem and a commitment to creating a seamless, interconnected web of information for both the user and the algorithm. You must also audit the exact text you are using to create these internal links, known as anchor text. In the early days of SEO, webmasters would relentlessly spam exact match keywords as anchor text, creating highly unnatural, manipulative link profiles. However, historical trends spanning the last decade demonstrate that search engines have evolved incredibly sophisticated natural language processing capabilities. In 2026, using hyper-optimized anchor text for every single internal link is a massive red flag that can trigger algorithmic suppression. Your internal links must read naturally within the context of the sentence, utilizing variations, synonyms, and broad descriptive phrases that accurately describe the destination page without appearing manipulative. By meticulously mapping your internal architecture, eliminating cannibalization, and rescuing orphan pages, you are establishing an impenetrable foundation of topical authority. You are communicating to the search engines with absolute clarity, ensuring they understand exactly what your business does and which pages are most important. But architecture is only the skeleton of your website. It provides the structure, but it does not provide the substance that actually convinces the algorithm to rank you above your most aggressive competitors. Once the search engine understands your structure, it turns its relentless focus entirely toward the actual words on your screen. What happens when your beautifully structured pages are fundamentally misaligned with the psychological intent of the American consumer? What if the meta titles you painstakingly crafted are completely invisible to the modern search algorithm? In the next segment, we are going to tear apart your on-page elements, exposing the catastrophic intent mismatches that are actively driving your potential clients directly into the arms of your rivals. Welcome to the battlefield of search intent and on-page optimization. You can have the most flawlessly coded website in the world, with zero crawl errors and a perfectly integrated internal linking structure. But if the actual words on your page do not align identically with the psychological desires of the user typing into the search bar, your website is entirely useless. Search intent is the ultimate deciding factor in the 2026 algorithm. It is the fundamental reason why a user picked up their phone or opened their laptop in the first place. Are they looking to buy something right now? Are they looking to compare two competing software platforms? Or are they simply looking for a quick definition of a complex industry term? If your web page delivers a dense, academic explanation of a topic when the American consumer is holding their credit card and actively looking for a fast checkout page, the search engine will recognize that mismatch in milliseconds. The user will bounce back to the search results, your dwell time metrics will plummet, and the algorithm will permanently demote your page for failing to satisfy the core intent of the query. Let us look at a highly illustrative case study from earlier this year involving a corporate tax advisory firm based in Atlanta, Georgia, run by a managing partner named Sarah. Sarah wanted to capture lucrative, high-ticket clients searching for corporate tax audit defense. She instructed her marketing team to build out a massive, highly detailed page targeting that exact phrase. The page was 8,000 words long. It detailed the entire history of the Internal Revenue Service, the legislative changes from the past 3 decades, and the philosophical framework of tax law. From a purely academic standpoint, it was a masterpiece. From a search engine optimization standpoint, it was a total disaster. When we analyzed her free Google Search Console data, we saw that the page was getting thousands of impressions but absolutely zero conversions. The bounce rate was resting at 98%. The problem was a catastrophic misunderstanding of transactional versus informational search intent. When a business owner in the United States searches for corporate tax audit defense in 2026, they are in a state of sheer panic. They have just received a terrifying letter from the government. They do not want a history lesson, they want an immediate lifeline. They want to see a phone number, a clear list of defense credentials, past case study outcomes, and a prominent contact form to hire legal representation immediately. Sarah's page failed because she built an encyclopedia when the market demanded an emergency room. You must run a manual, completely free search intent diagnostic on your most important web pages right now. Open a private browsing window, also known as incognito mode, to strip away your personalized search history. Type the exact primary keyword you want your page to rank for into the Google search bar. Now, ruthlessly analyze the organic results that are currently occupying the top 3 positions. These top 3 pages represent exactly what the algorithm believes the American public wants to see. If you are trying to rank a local service page, but the top 3 results are all massive informational blog posts outlining do-it-yourself tutorials, you have a severe intent mismatch. You will never outrank a tutorial with a sales page if the algorithm has mathematically determined that the query is informational. You must either rewrite your page to match the prevailing intent, or you must abandon that keyword and find a query that actually matches your transactional business goals. Once you have verified that your page matches the correct intent, you must audit the precise on-page elements that communicate that intent to the search engine spiders. This begins with your title tag and your meta description. Think of your title tag as the massive neon sign hanging above your digital storefront, and your meta description as the window display. If your neon sign is broken, confusing, or completely missing, potential customers will just keep walking. You do not need expensive software to check this. Simply navigate to your web page on a desktop browser, right-click anywhere on the blank space of the page, and select View Page Source. A terrifying wall of raw computer code will appear, but do not panic. Hold down the Control key and the F key on your keyboard to open the search function, and type the word title enclosed in standard directional HTML brackets. This will instantly highlight your title tag. Is it under 60 characters? Does it feature your exact primary keyword placed as close to the beginning of the sentence as possible? Does it include a compelling hook or a geographic modifier like Los Angeles or Miami to capture localized US traffic? If your title tag just says home or services, you are committing digital suicide. The algorithm has no idea what your page is about, and neither does the user. Next, use the same Control and F search function to find your H1 tag. The H1 tag is the main headline of your document. Historical trends dictate that you should only ever have one single H1 tag per page, and it must explicitly confirm the promise you made in your title tag. Imagine if you clicked a search result advertising affordable car insurance in Texas, but when the page loaded, the main headline said "Welcome to our company blog." The cognitive dissonance is immediate, trust is destroyed, and the user will instantly click the back button. Your H1 must bridge the gap between the search result and the page content seamlessly. Furthermore, you must audit your subheadings, known as H2 and H3 tags. In the modern era of natural language processing, search engines do not just read your content, they outline it. They use your H2 tags to understand the thematic depth of your article. If you are writing a comprehensive guide on commercial real estate investing, your H2 tags should not be generic phrases like introduction or conclusion. They should be highly descriptive, semantically related phrases like calculating cap rates for retail spaces or securing commercial bridge loans. This creates a rich, contextual roadmap that proves to the algorithm you are covering the topic with the absolute highest level of authoritative depth. By meticulously auditing your search intent, reverse engineering the top-ranking competitors, and optimizing your raw HTML tags for absolute clarity, you are forcing the algorithm to recognize your relevance. You are eliminating the friction between what the consumer wants and what your business provides. But relevance is only half of the modern SEO equation. You can have the most perfectly optimized, highly relevant page in your entire industry, but if the physical infrastructure delivering that page to the user is fundamentally broken, the algorithm will reject you without hesitation. What happens when your expertly crafted content is trapped inside a server that takes agonizing seconds to respond? What if the mobile experience is so incredibly volatile that the text jumps around the screen, causing the user to accidentally click the wrong buttons? In the next segment, we are going completely under the hood to expose the brutal, uncompromising world of technical performance, specifically focusing on the exact speed metrics that Google uses to violently penalize slow websites in the mobile-first era. The transition from desktop to mobile is complete. In the year 2026, Google does not care what your website looks like on a $3,000 desktop monitor connected to fiber optic internet. They crawl, evaluate, and rank your website based entirely on how it performs on a standard smartphone connected to a highly congested cellular network. This is the brutal reality of mobile-first indexing. If your mobile experience is slow, unstable, or unresponsive, you are invisible. To enforce this, Google introduced Core Web Vitals. These are not arbitrary best practices. They are confirmed, mathematical ranking signals permanently hardwired into the core algorithm. They measure exactly how a real human being experiences the loading sequence of your web page. Let us examine a highly revealing case study involving a business owner named Marcus, who operates a lucrative custom automotive parts distribution center in Phoenix, Arizona. Marcus had everything right on paper. His site architecture was flawless. His content perfectly matched the transactional intent of mechanics searching for specialized engine components, and his internal linking was pristine. Yet, historical trends for his domain showed a massive unexplained drop in organic traffic starting late last year. The issue was entirely technical. Marcus wanted his products to look incredible, so he uploaded massive, uncompressed high-definition images for every single car part. He also installed a heavy JavaScript application that allowed users to rotate the parts in 3 dimensions. On his office computer, it loaded instantly. But when an American mechanic standing in a concrete garage with only 2 bars of cellular service tried to load the page, it was a catastrophic failure. The page took 9 seconds to load, the 3-dimensional viewer froze the mobile browser, and the mechanics abandoned the site out of pure frustration. Google saw these terrible user experience signals, determined that Marcus was providing a toxic mobile experience, and completely suppressed his rankings. To ensure you do not suffer the same fate, you must run a free forensic performance audit right now using Google PageSpeed Insights. This is a publicly available diagnostic tool engineered by Google itself. You simply enter your URL, and the tool connects to your server, simulating a mobile device loading your page. It then provides you with 2 distinct sets of data. The first is lab data, which is a controlled simulation. The second, and far more critical, is field data. Field data is pulled directly from the Chrome User Experience Report, meaning it is an aggregation of exactly how fast your website loaded for real American citizens using the Google Chrome browser over the last 28 days. If you fail the field data assessment, you are actively being penalized. Your free SEO check must focus intensely on 3 specific core Web Vitals metrics, starting with largest contentful paint, universally known as LCP. This metric measures absolute loading performance. It tells you exactly how many seconds it takes for the largest visual element on your screen to fully render. This is usually your main hero image, your primary headline, or a promotional video. In the eyes of the 2026 algorithm, your largest contentful paint must occur within 2.5 seconds of the user tapping your link in the search results. If it takes longer than 2.5 seconds, your page is considered slow, and your visibility is restricted. When you run your PageSpeed Insights report, scroll down to the diagnostics section. It will explicitly show you which exact image or block of text is triggering your LCP. The most common solution to a failing LCP score is completely free and relatively simple. You must stop uploading massive JPEG or PNG files. You must convert your visual assets into highly compressed, next-generation formats like WebP or AVIF, which maintain visual fidelity while stripping away useless data, allowing the server to deliver the image in a fraction of the time. The second metric you must scrutinize is interaction to next paint or INP. This metric replaced the older first input delay standard, and it is the ultimate measure of your website's responsiveness. Imagine an eager customer navigating to your product page. They read the description they are ready to buy, and they tap the Add to Cart button. Interaction to next paint measures the exact latency between the moment their finger touches the glass of their smartphone screen and the moment the browser actually provides visual feedback that the item was added. If there is a noticeable delay, the user feels like the website is broken, leading to immediate abandonment. The standard for 2026 demands an INP of under 200 milliseconds. If your score is failing, the PageSpeed Insights report will usually point directly to heavy, render-blocking JavaScript. You are likely forcing the mobile browser to download, parse, and execute massive amounts of third-party tracking code, chat widgets, and social media plugins before it is allowed to process the user's actual tap. You must work with your developer to defer the loading of non-essential scripts, prioritizing the main thread execution, so that when a user interacts with your site, the response is instantaneous. The final pillar of your technical performance check is cumulative layout shift, or CLS. This metric measures visual stability, and it is heavily tied to the pure frustration of navigating a poorly coded mobile site. We have all experienced the phenomenon where you are reading an article on your phone, you go to tap a link, and suddenly a massive advertisement or a delayed image abruptly loads at the top of the screen. The entire layout violently shifts downward, causing you to accidentally click on the wrong element. This is a terrible user experience, and the algorithm tracks every single microscopic shift in your layout. A perfect CLS score is 0, but you must keep it below 0.1. When you examine your diagnostic report, it will highlight exactly which elements are causing layout shifts. In almost every historical case study, a failing CLS score is the direct result of web developers failing to include explicit width and height attributes in their image and video code. If the browser does not know the exact physical dimensions of an image before it downloads it, it cannot reserve the proper space on the screen. As the image finally arrives, the browser is forced to shove all the surrounding text out of the way to make room. By simply defining the exact pixel dimensions in your HTML code, the browser instantly carves out a placeholder, ensuring the text remains perfectly stable while the visual assets load in the background. By aggressively diagnosing and resolving these specific core web vitals, You transform your website from a sluggish liability into a lightning-fast digital asset. You are removing all technical friction, signaling to the search engine that you provide a premier mobile experience worthy of the top position. You have now established a flawless technical foundation, a perfectly optimized architecture, and an uncompromising mobile interface. However, your website still exists in isolation. You have built a beautiful, fast, perfectly organized digital library, but you still need the rest of the internet to actually vouch for your credibility. What happens when the algorithm looks out across the web and sees absolutely no one talking about your business? Or worse, what if the algorithm discovers that your site is secretly associated with a massive network of toxic, spam-infested domains? In the next segment, we are leaving the confines of your own server and venturing out into the chaotic landscape of off-page SEO, where we will uncover the exact free tools required to audit your backlink profile and identify the silent, malicious links that are actively destroying your digital reputation. The internet is not a collection of isolated islands. It is a massive interconnected web of relationships where every single link acts as a digital vote of confidence. In the year 2026, the Google algorithm remains a popularity contest at its core, but with a cynical, highly intelligent twist. It does not just count how many votes you have. It scrutinizes the character, authority, and geographic relevance of every single website that points a link back to your domain. This is the world of off-page SEO and backlink auditing. If you have 1,000 links from low-quality, spam-filled directories based in countries that have nothing to do with your US business, the algorithm will not see you as popular. It will see you as a manipulator. It will assume you are trying to cheat the system, and it will respond by burying your website so deep in the search results that not even a direct search for your brand name will find you. Let us dive into a critical case study involving a small boutique law firm in Boston, Massachusetts, managed by a lead partner named David. David had spent years building a sterling local reputation, but his online presence was non-existent. In a moment of desperation to compete with larger firms, he hired a low-cost overseas marketing agency that promised to build hundreds of links for a nominal fee. Within 3 months, David's backlink profile was flooded with links from gambling sites, adult content forums, and generic link farms. Initially, he saw a small bump in rankings, but by early 2026, the hammer dropped. Google's spam detection algorithms identified the inorganic patterns, and David's firm vanished from the local map pack and the organic listings entirely. His organic leads dropped to zero overnight. The lesson here is brutal. A single toxic link can do more damage than 100 high-quality links can do good. You must perform a comprehensive free backlink audit right now to see who is talking about you and, more importantly, what they are saying. You do not need a $500 a month subscription to do this. You can start with the links report right inside your Google Search Console. This tool provides a raw, unfiltered list of the top linking domains that Google has discovered pointing to your site. Navigate to the links section in the left-hand sidebar and click on Top Linking Sites. This is your master list of digital associations. As you audit this list, you must look for patterns of irrelevance. If you run a local bakery in Denver, Colorado, and you see dozens of links coming from Russian technology blogs or Chinese e-commerce sites, you have a major red flag. In the 2026 SEO landscape, geographic relevance is a massive weight in the ranking equation. Google expects a US-focused business to be cited by other US-based entities, local news outlets, industry-specific American publications, and local Chamber of Commerce directories. To take this a step further for free, you can use specialized backlink checker tools that offer a limited free tier. These tools often provide a domain authority or domain rating score. While these are third-party metrics and not used by Google directly, they are excellent historical indicators of a site's relative strength. You are looking for a healthy balance. If your entire profile consists of sites with a rating of 5 or lower, your site lacks the muscular authority needed to compete for high-value American keywords. The next phase of your off-page check is examining the anchor text of these external links. In the previous part of this masterclass, we discussed internal anchor text, but external anchor text is even more significant. If 100 different websites all link to you using the exact same phrase, such as Best Personal Injury Lawyer Los Angeles, it looks incredibly suspicious to a modern algorithm. Real organic growth happens when people link to you using your brand name, your URL, or natural phrases like click here or this article. Historical trends show that over-optimized anchor text profiles are one of the primary triggers for manual actions and algorithmic filters. If your free audit reveals that more than 20% of your external links are using exact match commercial keywords, you are in the danger zone. But what if you find those toxic, malicious links we discussed earlier? What if a competitor has launched a negative SEO attack against you by pointing thousands of pornographic links at your domain? In the past, the advice was to use the Google Disavow tool, but in 2026, the guidance from the search engine has shifted. Google's algorithms are now much better at simply ignoring low-quality spam. However, ignore does not mean harmless. If the sheer volume of spam outweighs your legitimate mentions, the algorithm may struggle to find your true topical core. Your strategy must be one of dilution. You do not win by deleting the bad. You win by overwhelming the bad with an abundance of good, high-authority, US-centric mentions. Imagine a scenario where a real estate agent named Jennifer in Austin, Texas, discovers that her site is being linked to by a network of hacked websites. Instead of panicking, she executes a localized PR strategy. She reaches out to local Austin news blogs, contributes a data-driven guest post to a Texas-wide real estate association, and ensures her profile is fully optimized on reputable American business directories like Yelp, Yellow Pages, and the Better Business Bureau. These high-trust, high-authority links act as a digital shield. They signal to the algorithm that Jennifer is a legitimate, verified entity within the American economic landscape. Another often overlooked aspect of your free off-page check is the analysis of your competitors' backlink profiles. Most free backlink tools allow you to run a few searches per day on any URL. You should enter the URLs of the top 3 competitors who are currently outranking you for your dream keywords. Do not look at their total link count. Look at where their best links are coming from. Are they being mentioned in major US publications like Forbes, the New York Times, or industry-specific journals? Are they listed in prestigious local directories that you have missed? This is essentially a free roadmap to success. If the algorithm has already rewarded your competitor for having a link from a specific American trade association, that is a clear signal that you should also pursue a relationship with that same entity. You must also check for broken backlinks. These are instances where a high-quality website is trying to link to you, but they are pointing to a page that no longer exists on your server, resulting in a 404 error. This is pure wasted potential. You can find these by using a free broken link checker, or by looking at the 404 error reports in your Google Search Console and cross-referencing them with your link report. If you find a dead page that has 10 high-quality links pointing to it, you can simply implement a 301 redirect to a relevant live page. This immediately recovers the lost authority and injects it back into your site's ranking power, without you having to build a single new link. By the end of this off-page audit, you should have a clear understanding of your digital reputation. You have identified the toxic outliers, mapped out the sources of your competitor's strength, and recovered lost authority from broken links. You are no longer an island. You are a growing power within a trusted network. But as your authority grows and your traffic begins to climb, a new and much more complex challenge emerges. Google is no longer just looking at your links and your code. It is now obsessed with your actual identity and expertise. In the next segment, we are going to dive into the most controversial and misunderstood aspect of modern SEO, the AT framework. We will uncover how the algorithm determines if you are a credible expert or a nameless ghost, and I will show you the exact free steps to prove your professional legitimacy to the world. In the landscape of 2026, Google is no longer just a search engine. It is a sophisticated, highly skeptical truth filter. The era of the anonymous, faceless website is officially over. If the algorithm cannot verify exactly who you are, what your credentials are, and why you are qualified to speak on a topic, it will treat your content as radioactive. This brings us to the core of modern SEO, the AT framework, which stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. While these might sound like abstract marketing buzzwords, they are actually hard-coded evaluation parameters that the search engine uses to determine your digital legitimacy. In the United States, where the search market is flooded with low-quality, AI-generated noise, proving your human identity and professional authority is the only way to maintain long-term organic visibility. To understand the power of AT, imagine you are a homeowner in Portland, Oregon, named James. It is a rainy Tuesday morning, and James notices a massive spreading water stain on his living room ceiling. He is panicked. He pulls out his phone and searches for how to diagnose a roof leak in a mid-century modern home. He finds 2 articles. The first is a generic 500-word blog post on a site called Home Tips 101. The article has no author name, no photos of actual roofs, and no specific mention of the unique structural challenges of Pacific Northwest architecture. The second article is on a site owned by a local roofing contractor. It features a detailed author bio for a man named Thomas, who has 20 years of experience in the Portland area. The article includes high-resolution, original photos of Thomas actually climbing onto a roof, pointing at a specific type of flashing failure common in the 2026 weather patterns of the region. Thomas even includes his state contractor license number and a link to his profile on the Oregon Construction Contractors Board. Even if the first article has more keywords, the Google algorithm of 2026 is mathematically programmed to prioritize Thomas. Why? Because Thomas has demonstrated the extra E experience. He has proven he has actually done the work he is writing about. This is the most critical update to the AT framework in recent years. Search engines are now aggressively hunting for first-hand, lived experience. They want to see that you have physically touched the products, visited the locations, or performed the services you are describing. If your website looks like a generic aggregation of facts found elsewhere on the internet, you will be filtered out. You can run a free AT diagnostic on your website right now by auditing your digital transparency. The first and most important step is to examine your About Us page. Historical trends show that this is often the most neglected page on a website, yet it is one of the first places a search engine bot looks to verify your identity. Is your About Us page a generic mission statement filled with corporate jargon? Or does it name your founders, show high-quality original photography of your actual office in the United States, and list your specific industry certifications? For a free check, look at your page through the eyes of a skeptic. If you cannot prove your physical existence and your professional history on this page, you are failing the trustworthiness pillar. The second free check involves your author bios. Every single piece of informational content on your site must be attributed to a real person. In 2026, using an author name like admin or staff is a massive technical red flag. You must create a dedicated author page for every contributor. This page should act as a digital resume, containing links to their social media profiles, especially professional networks like LinkedIn, and references to other reputable websites where they have been published. This creates what is known as a knowledge graph connection. You are helping the algorithm connect the dots between your website and the wider, verified world of professional expertise. Furthermore, you must audit your website's technical trust signals. This is a completely free check that requires no special tools. Navigate to your website and look at the bottom of your homepage. Do you have a clearly linked privacy policy and terms of service page? In the US market, these are not just legal requirements. They are fundamental trust signals for the search algorithm. Do you have a physical address and a local American phone number listed in your footer? Historical case studies indicate that websites with a verified physical location in the United States often experience better local ranking potential than those that remain geographically ambiguous. Even if you operate entirely online, providing a physical mailing address signals to the algorithm that you are a legitimate business entity, accountable to American laws. To take your EAT check to a technical level for free, you must utilize the Google Rich Results test to audit your schema markup. Schema is a hidden layer of code that speaks directly to the search engine in its native language, JSON LD. You can use a free online schema generator to create person and organization schema. This code allows you to explicitly tell Google, this is the person who wrote this article, here are their credentials, and here is their official LinkedIn profile. By embedding this code into your header, you are moving beyond the hope that Google understands your expertise. You are providing the algorithm with a structured, undeniable proof of your authority. Trustworthiness, the final and most important pillar of AT, is often determined by what others say about you. For a free off-page trust check, search for your brand name on Google and look at the first 2 pages of results. Are you listed on the Better Business Bureau website? Do you have a profile on Trustpilot or specialized industry review sites? If the only place your brand name appears is on your own website, you have a severe authority gap. The potential outcomes of aggressively pursuing these free third-party citations are significant. In many historical trends, businesses that focus on securing just 3 or 4 high-authority, third-party mentions see a dramatic stabilization in their organic rankings, even during major algorithm updates. Imagine another scenario where a financial consultant named Sarah in Charlotte, North Carolina, is struggling to rank for her core services. She has the expertise, but her website is a ghost town. She decides to run this free check and realizes she has never linked her site to her official certification from the CFP board. She adds a digital badge, links it directly to her verification page, and updates her schema markup to include her professional credentials. Within weeks, the search engine has a clearer picture of her legitimacy. She is no longer just another voice in the crowd. She is a verified expert in the eyes of the algorithm. By meticulously auditing your about page, author bios, trust signals, and schema markup, you are satisfying the algorithm's hunger for credibility. You are proving that you are a real, experienced American professional who can be trusted to provide accurate information to the public. You have now optimized your code, your architecture, your content, and your identity. Your website is a fortress of authority. However, even the most authoritative website can still fail if it is targeting the wrong targets. What happens when you have built a perfect site, but you are accidentally competing for keywords that are impossible to win? Or worse, what if you are completely missing the secret, high-volume search terms that your competitors are quietly exploiting to steal your market share? In the next segment, we are going to dive into the high-stakes world of competitive surveillance and content gap analysis, where I will show you how to use free data to spy on your rivals and uncover the exact keywords they are using to dominate the United States search landscape. In the highly competitive digital landscape of the United States in 2026, staying in your own lane is a recipe for stagnation. You cannot simply look at your own data and hope for the best. You must adopt a mindset of aggressive competitive surveillance. This is not about copying your rivals. It is about uncovering the invisible blueprint they are using to siphon off your potential traffic. Competitive surveillance is the art of identifying the content gaps where your competitors are thriving and you are completely absent. If a rival business in your niche is consistently appearing at the top of the search results for high-value commercial terms, it is because they have discovered a topical cluster or a psychological trigger that you have overlooked. By using completely free tools and a systematic diagnostic approach, you can reverse engineer their success and reclaim your rightful market share. Let us examine a detailed case study involving a business owner named Alex who operates a high-end, specialized home security consultancy in Austin, Texas. It is mid-2026, and the market for smart home integration is booming. Alex had a technically perfect website and excellent AT signals. Yet he noticed that a newer competitor was consistently outranking him for lucrative searches related to estate security systems for remote properties. When Alex conducted a manual content gap analysis, he made a startling discovery. His competitor was not just writing about security cameras. They had built an entire topical silo around off-grid power solutions for security hardware. Alex had completely ignored the technical requirements of powering security systems in rural areas, while his competitor had recognized that this was a primary pain point for wealthy Texas landowners. By identifying this specific gap in his content architecture, Alex was able to pivot his strategy, create superior resources for that specific sub-niche, and see significant shifts in his organic visibility within the following quarter. To execute your own free content gap analysis, you must first identify your true organic competitors. These are not necessarily the businesses you compete with physically in your city. They are the websites that consistently occupy the search real estate you want to own. Start by listing your top 5 primary keywords. Use a private browsing window to search for each one and record the top 3 domains that appear. These are your targets. Now, we are going to use a free diagnostic method involving the Google Keyword Planner. While this tool is technically part of the Google Ads suite, you can access the data for free without ever launching a paid campaign. Within the Keyword Planner, select the option to discover new keywords, and then select Start with a website. Enter the URL of your top competitor. Google will then generate a list of the keywords that specific URL is currently optimized for. Cross-reference this list with your own keyword strategy. Are they ranking for specific long-tail questions that you have never addressed? Are they targeting geographic modifiers or industry-specific jargon that you have missed? This is the raw data of competitive intelligence. For example, if you run a legal practice in New York and your competitor is ranking for how to file a motion for summary judgment in Kings County, while you are only targeting generic New York law firm keywords, you have found a massive content gap. You are missing the highly specific, intent-driven queries that actually lead to conversions. The next phase of your competitive SEO check is to analyze the SERP features that your rivals are dominating. In 2026, the search results page is no longer just a list of 10 blue links. It is a complex ecosystem of featured snippets, people also ask boxes, and AI-generated overviews. If your competitor is consistently winning the featured snippet for a core industry question, they are capturing the majority of the click-through rate. To diagnose how they are doing this for free, you must manually inspect the structure of their ranking page. Look for how they use concise, bulleted lists or short, 30-word paragraphs that directly answer the query. Historical trends show that Google favors content that is structured for immediate readability. If your content is a wall of dense text and your competitor is using clean, structured data and summary headers, the algorithm will reward them every single time. Furthermore, you must investigate the AI overviews, often referred to as the search generative experience, which has become a dominant force in 2026 search behavior. When you search for a complex topic, Google often provides a synthesized answer at the very top of the page, citing specific sources. If your competitor is being cited as a primary source by the AI and you are not, you need to understand why. Often, this is because the competitor is providing original data, unique case studies, or highly specific technical specifications that the AI can easily extract. A free way to bridge this gap is to look for data points that are missing in your industry and conduct your own mini-study or compile a unique statistics page. Providing original, citable information is one of the most effective ways to earn a spot in those lucrative AI summaries. You should also execute a free sitemap audit on your competitors. Most websites leave their sitemaps publicly accessible at theirdomain.com/sitemap.xml. By viewing their sitemap, you can see their entire content hierarchy and how frequently they are publishing new material. If you see that a competitor has recently launched a massive new section for video transcripts or localized landing pages for every major city in the United States, you are looking at their future growth strategy. You can use this information to anticipate their moves and ensure that your own site remains competitive in those emerging areas. Another highly effective free technique for competitive surveillance is to monitor their social signals and community engagement. While social media links are generally not direct ranking factors, the traffic and brand awareness they generate lead to the branded searches and high-quality backlinks that the algorithm craves. Use free tools to see which of your competitors' pieces of content are getting the most engagement on platforms like LinkedIn or specialized industry forums. If a specific topic is going viral for them, it is a clear indicator of market demand. You can then take that same topic and create a version that is more comprehensive, better researched, and more authoritative for your own US audience. By the time you finish this competitive audit, you should have a detailed spreadsheet of every keyword, topic, and structural advantage your rivals possess. You have moved beyond the bubble of your own site and gained a bird's-eye view of the entire American search landscape for your niche. You now know exactly where the opportunities lie and which areas are currently oversaturated. This data is the fuel for your future growth. But having the right keywords and the best content is still not enough if the people who land on your site do not behave the way the algorithm expects them to. What happens when you win the click, but the user stays for only 3 seconds before leaving? What if they wander aimlessly through your site without ever finding what they need? In the next segment, we are going to dive into the psychological metrics of user behavior and engagement. I will show you how to use free analytics data to track the invisible journey of your visitors and identify the silent conversion killers that are sabotaging your rankings from the inside out. In the search ecosystem of 2026, the algorithm has reached a level of psychological sophistication that would have been unimaginable just a few years ago. We have moved far beyond the era where simply having the right keywords or a fast server was enough to maintain a top-tier ranking. Today, Google operates as a master observer of human satisfaction. It is no longer just about the click, it is about what happens after the click. If a user finds your website in the search results, clicks through, and then immediately realizes the content is confusing, the layout is frustrating, or the answer to their question is buried under a mountain of fluff, they will perform what the industry calls pogo sticking. They will hit the back button and return to the search results to find a better option. When this happens repeatedly, the algorithm receives a definitive signal that your page is a failure for that specific query. Your rankings will plummet because you have failed the ultimate test of user experience. To diagnose these silent conversion killers for free, we must turn our attention to the heart of your data. Google Analytics 4. Many business owners log into their analytics and feel overwhelmed by the sheer volume of charts and numbers, but for a forensic SEO check, we only need to focus on a few high-impact behavioral metrics. Let us look at a detailed case study involving an entrepreneur named Jennifer, who runs a high-stakes medical billing consultancy in Nashville, Tennessee. It is March 2026, and the healthcare administrative market is more crowded than ever. Jennifer was successfully ranking on the first page for very valuable terms like medical billing outsourcing for small practices. On paper, her SEO was perfect. She was getting the traffic, but her phone was not ringing. She was essentially paying for a beautiful digital storefront that people walked into, and then immediately walked out of without saying a word. When Jennifer ran a free behavioral audit, she discovered a catastrophic leak in her digital bucket. By looking at her engagement rate in Google Analytics 4, she realized that while she had thousands of visitors, her engagement rate was a dismal 22%. In the 2026 landscape, a healthy engagement rate for a B2B service site should be closer to 50 or 60%. Engagement rate is the inverse of the old bounce rate metric. It tracks users who stayed on the site for more than 10 seconds, viewed more than one page, or triggered a conversion event. Jennifer's low engagement rate told her that the vast majority of her visitors were rejecting her site almost instantly. She took her diagnostic a step further by using another powerful and completely free tool, Microsoft Clarity. If you are not using Clarity in 2026, you are missing out on the most revealing data available to a website owner. Clarity provides heat maps and anonymous session recordings that allow you to watch exactly how users navigate your site. When Jennifer watched her session recordings, she saw something heartbreaking. On mobile devices, which accounted for 70% of her traffic, her primary contact form was being obscured by an aggressive, poorly timed newsletter pop-up. Users would land on her page, try to read her expertise, get frustrated by the pop-up, and accidentally click on a non-functioning element while trying to close it. This triggered what Clarity calls a rage click. A rage click occurs when a user clicks the same area of a screen repeatedly in a short period, signaling extreme frustration. Jennifer was literally driving her customers away with her own marketing tactics. To run this same check on your own US-focused website, you must look at your average engagement time per session. If this number is under 30 seconds for an informational blog post, you have a content quality or readability issue. Historical trends suggest that for a user to actually consume a 1,000-word article, they need at least 2 to 3 minutes of active dwell time. If your dwell time is low, you need to check your formatting. Are you using large, intimidating walls of text? In 2026, the American consumer has an incredibly short attention span. You must break up your content with descriptive subheaders, bullet points, and high-quality images that provide visual rest. Another critical behavioral metric to audit is scroll depth. If you have a 3,000-word masterclass on your site, but your Google Analytics data shows that 90% of users drop off after the first 20% of the page, your most important information is never being seen. This often happens because the introduction is too long, or the page lacks an interactive table of contents. By adding a simple, clickable table of contents at the top of your long-form pages, you allow users to jump directly to the section that solves their specific problem. This simple, free fix can dramatically increase your dwell time and signal to Google that your page is highly useful. You must also identify and eliminate dead clicks. These are instances where a user clicks on an element that looks like a link or a button, but does not actually do anything. On many modern websites, especially those using complex CSS frameworks, users often try to click on images or icons expecting to be taken to a product page. If those elements are not linked, the user feels a sense of technical friction. In the eyes of an algorithm that prioritizes seamless navigation, these small errors aggregate into a negative user experience score. Furthermore, you must audit your key events, which was formerly known as conversions in older versions of analytics. For a US business, a key event might be a form submission, a phone call click, or a download of a white paper. You need to verify that your key events are actually firing correctly. Historical case studies have shown that up to 30% of websites have broken tracking, meaning they are making decisions based on faulty data. You can use the free Google Tag Assistant to put your site into preview mode and physically walk through your conversion funnels. If you fill out your contact form and the Tag Assistant does not show a success signal, your data is lying to you, and the algorithm cannot see the value you are providing to your visitors. We must also discuss the psychological impact of trust signals on user behavior. In the 2026 market, American consumers are hyper-aware of digital scams and low-quality AI sites. If your site lacks visible trust signals, such as verified review badges, professional certifications, or clear physical contact information, users will subconsciously hesitate to engage. This hesitation leads to slower interaction times and higher abandonment rates. By performing a free audit of your trust signals and ensuring they are placed prominently near your calls to action, you can lower the psychological barrier to entry and increase your engagement metrics. By the end of this behavioral audit, you should have a clear list of the technical and psychological barriers that are preventing your visitors from becoming customers. You have moved beyond the abstract world of search rankings and into the tangible world of human interaction. You are no longer just guessing why people are leaving. You have seen the heat maps, you have analyzed the engagement time, and you have identified the rage clicks. You are now ready to transform your site from a leaky bucket into a high-performance conversion engine. But even with perfect behavior, perfect code, and perfect content, there is still one final piece of the puzzle. Most people finish their SEO check here and wonder why they aren't seeing the massive growth they expected. It is because they have all the parts of the machine, but they haven't turned the key. They lack a cohesive long-term execution plan that ties every single one of these diagnostics together into a relentless growth engine. In the final part of this deep dive masterclass, we are going to synthesize everything we have learned. I am going to give you the ultimate master checklist and show you the one thing that separates the top 1% of US websites from the 99% that eventually fade into digital irrelevance. We are going to build your 2026 SEO roadmap. The single factor that separates the elite top 1% of United States websites from the 99% that eventually fade into digital irrelevance is not a secret piece of software or a massive backlink budget. It is the transition from viewing search engine optimization as a one-time project to treating it as a continuous iterative feedback loop. Most business owners execute an audit, fix a few broken links, and then wait for the results to roll in. When they do not see a massive spike in traffic within 48 hours, they become frustrated and move on to the next marketing trend. The top 1% understand that the algorithm is a living, breathing entity that updates itself thousands of times per year. To stay ahead in 2026, your diagnostic process must be as relentless as the algorithm itself. Consider the historical case study of Catherine, who manages a high-end residential solar installation firm in Denver, Colorado. In early 2026, the solar market was hyper-competitive due to new federal tax incentives and a massive influx of local competitors. Catherine followed every step of this masterclass. She fixed her core web vitals, aligned her search intent, and fortified her AT signals. However, after 30 days, her organic traffic had only increased by 5%. Most people would have quit, but Catherine understood the historical trends of the 2026 algorithm, which often requires a period of data gathering before it recalibrates a domain's overall authority. She didn't stop at the audit. She implemented a 90-day execution roadmap that utilized the free data she had uncovered to pivot her strategy in real time. Phase 1 of this roadmap, which covers days 1 through 30, is the technical cleanse. You have already identified your crawl errors, your 404s, and your core web vitals failures. In this first month, you must be surgical. You are not adding new content. You are stripping away the technical friction that is holding your current content back. Catherine discovered through her PageSpeed Insights report that her high-resolution images of solar panel installations were still dragging down her mobile performance. She spent the first week converting every single image on her site to the AVIF format and implementing lazy loading. Potential outcomes of this phase include a significant stabilization of your crawl budget. When the Google bots return to your site, they find a streamlined, fast, and error-free environment. This is the prerequisite for everything that follows. Phase 2, occurring from day 31 to 60, is the content renaissance. This is where you move from fixing the past to optimizing the present. You must return to your Google Search Console performance report and look specifically for your low-hanging fruit. These are keywords where your website is currently ranking in positions 11 through 20. These pages are on the second page of Google, which in the US market is essentially a digital graveyard. However, these pages are also the closest to the finish line. Catherine found that her guide on solar battery storage was ranking at position 14. She performed a free content gap analysis against the top 3 results and realized she was missing a specific section on the 2026 Colorado State Fire Codes for home battery installation. She updated the page with this specific high-intent information, improved her internal linking from her high-authority homepage, and within 3 weeks that page climbed to position 4, resulting in a 300% increase in qualified leads for that specific service. Phase 3, from day 61 to 90, is authority expansion and behavioral refinement. By now, your site is fast and your content is superior. Now you must prove to the algorithm that the American public actually likes what you have built. This is where you utilize your Microsoft Clarity heat maps and Google Analytics behavioral data to ruthlessly eliminate any remaining friction. Catherine noticed that users were spending 3 minutes reading her articles, but only 2% were clicking her call to action button. She realized the button color blended too much into her background and the text was too generic. She changed the text from "Contact us to get my free solar assessment" and moved the button higher up the page. Simultaneously, She reached out to 3 local Denver business journals to share her original data on solar adoption rates in the city. The combination of improved user engagement signals and new, high-authority local backlinks acted as a catalyst. By the end of the 90-day period, Catherine's organic traffic had not just recovered, it had grown by over 400% compared to the previous year. To replicate this success, you must use the ultimate 2026 SEO Master Checklist. This is your manual for the free check you will perform every single month. First, execute a site search on Google by typing site:yourdomain.com into the search bar. This tells you exactly how many pages Google currently has in its index for your brand. If this number is significantly higher than the number of pages you actually have, you are dealing with a massive duplicate content or thin content issue that is diluting your authority. Second, check your Google Search Console for any new manual actions or security issues. In the 2026 era of increased digital threats, a single hack page or a security vulnerability can lead to an immediate de-indexing of your entire domain. Third, perform an updated keyword cannibalization check. As you add more content, you will inevitably begin to compete with yourself. Use the Search Console filter method we discussed in Part 3 to ensure that each high-value keyword is being targeted by only one authoritative URL. Fourth, reevaluate your EAT signals. Have you added any new certifications? Has your business won any local awards? Have you updated your author bios with recent professional achievements? These small updates signal to the algorithm that your expertise is current and active. Finally, run a mobile usability test. Devices change, screen resolutions evolve, and browser updates can occasionally break a previously stable mobile layout. A monthly check ensures that your site remains perfectly responsive for the millions of Americans searching on their phones. The roadmap we have built today is not about overnight success. It is about building an unshakable digital asset that compounds in value over time. In the United States, where the economic landscape is shifting toward digital-first interactions, your website's search visibility is your most valuable currency. You now have the diagnostic tools, the technical knowledge, and the behavioral insights to run a world-class SEO check without spending a single dollar on expensive agency retainers. You are no longer guessing. You are operating on raw data and proven historical trends. But as the 2026 landscape continues to evolve, a new frontier is emerging that will redefine the very nature of how we interact with search engines. The rise of multimodal AI and voice-activated search interfaces means that the blue links we have focused on today are only the beginning of a much larger journey. What happens when your customers stop typing and start speaking to their devices? How do you optimize for an era where the search engine is an active, conversational assistant rather than a passive list of results? In our next masterclass series, we are going to dive deep into the world of voice search architecture and AI-native optimization, where I will show you how to ensure your business is the only answer the AI provides. Your roadmap doesn't end here. It is just beginning to scale. Would you like me to generate a 30-day SEO action plan based on these steps?